want you to already see yourself out of the storm. The clouds will move. It's time for you to smile again. Come on, Sean. I believe family will get better. I believe God will provide. I believe the promise that He made. Oh, I believe. Oh, it's already done. The blessing is yours. God's already pre-approved you for it. Come on, Zacardi. I believe that my God is a healer.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I believe that my God is a healer. Oh yes, oh yes. So there we go. Just to encourage you this evening, and thank you so much as we welcome you from around the world and the United States. This is the Diana Wright Show live online. I believe that your storm is over, and just what they say. And I believe that God is indeed a healer. And whatever ails you this evening, whatever troubles you, we know that God will heal you and will guide you through and will take you to the promises that He promised that He will provide for you. Well, you know, sometimes you just got to get a little annoyed with people trying to help you but not helping you the right way. But anyway, yeah, let's get started. And we start this evening in China. And, you know, I was just a little concerned yesterday as I was watching 60 Minutes and watching the story about China and its pretend society, because, you know, they have all those buildings that are waiting for people to occupy and no one can occupy them because no one can afford them. And then they have all these signs of all these high-end stores. So is a Chinese economy just make-believe? And if we decide to not buy the products that come out of China, then there will be major issues, it seems. So when I was watching it, I thought of Detroit, but it seemed to me to be worse than Detroit. Only difference is that those buildings are more beautiful than, of course, what's going on in Detroit. And it just shows you that life is sometimes just make-believe. People are pretending to be who they're not. And that was clear on 60 Minutes last night. So there goes the housing in China and the bubble that's being created and the bubble that will burst soon, like the bubble that busted actually here in the United States in '08. And of course, they're trying to create another bubble again, talking about people, you know, houses are doing well and prices are going up. And values are going up. How can home values go up when people are still underwater in Florida and several other places? How can that be? Is that truth or fantasy or fiction? Which one is it? We'd like to know. So, welcome once again to the Diana Wright Show live online. We thank you for joining us from around the world and in the United States. And we encourage you this evening to get out of the blue and into the green, and whatever depresses you, just kind of try to kick it to the curb as hard as you can and make yourself joyful and happy. Because remember now, you are responsible for your own happiness. No one else will provide that for you. So depend on no one for your happiness. Just depend on loving you and keep the vibe going. I Love Me crusade. Yes. I Love Me Day, National I Love Me Day come April 30th. We encourage you to love yourself and to teach your children to love themselves. Yes, you're going to have some rough patches and some days that everybody gets angry. And if you are angry, deal with it at that moment. Don't let people pretend that you're not supposed to get angry. Yes, you can get angry because in the Bible, Jesus got angry. Remember, he got so angry, he turned over the tables and threw them in the temple where people were gambling. All right? So anger is indeed in the Bible, and you're allowed to be. Don't save up that emotion and put it aside in your heart. Get rid of it. Speak it. And say what's on your mind. Don't be afraid to speak and give your thoughts and say how you feel at that particular moment. Then if you need to go apologize later, then you can do that. But get it off your chest. I encourage you to do so. All right. Staying in the southeast, in Asia, in Thailand. Thailand is the most established tourist destination. Did you know that? And it's quite inexpensive too. Thailand capital city of Bangkok has a big city lifestyle. And once they are doing all these things to attract all these tourists, and young people are actually going there with their backpacks. So they're calling them backpack tourists. All right. So, and it's really wonderful. The things they're trying to get you to try. There's something that you need to try if you get to Thailand. I'd like to get there myself. It's called bubble tea. And it's something that you drink in a cup, and it's just like, I guess they have little things looking similar to Starbucks, where you go and you get this bubble tea, and it's made of milk and pieces and chunks of jello. So hence the bubble, I guess. And it's supposed to be very good. And one of the good things, great things actually, that caught my eye with this story is that poverty has fallen from 42% in Thailand to 7%. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Everyone is getting in on the Tourism Act. And of course, their film industry, their book industry, and they're also being called the World Book Capital for 2013. So wonderful things are happening in Thailand. Interesting place. Always want to go because I love Thai food so much. So I want to go and taste the authentic Thai food, because you know, when you eat Chinese food out of China, it doesn't taste the same way as when you go to China. When you eat pizza here in America, when you go to Italy, the pizza tastes a little different. Okay, looks a little different sometimes too. So I would love to go to Thailand to taste authentic Thai food. So can you imagine, they are the 2013 World Book Capital. Their media industry is thriving, and their book publishing business is doing extremely well. And of course, it's the world's 13th book capital, following other countries like Yerevan, Armenia. Wow, that's in 2012. And Madrid, Spain, of course, was the first book capital in the world in 2001. So Director General of UNESCO, Irina Bokova, I hope that's how she pronounces her name, said Bangkok was awarded this honor for being community focused and for encouraging the development of reading for all. So wow, they're trying to make everyone in Thailand be able to read. It's also a good place if you're a teacher and want to go and teach English in Thailand. Good place to go to. Apartments are pretty inexpensive, and the lifestyle is wonderful from what I see and what I gather. So I'm hoping to go there and take you all with me. How about that? All right. So that's news out of Thailand, and news out of here, South Florida. I'm sure you remember the hazing that went on with that young band member who died. So 12 former members of the Florida A&M University Marching Band are now being charged with manslaughter because of the death of drum major Robert Champion. And that story really kind of cut my soul when it happened, because you're, as a parent, you send your child to college, to school, middle school, kindergarten, high school, whatever it is, and you sit at home and you get a phone call that your child died at school for some crazy incident, you know, and it just breaks your heart to know that parent, that family must have endured so much suffering, so much pain and anguish to know what Robert Champion suffered by all that hazing and beating and whatever it is. They claim that they thought he was gay or something. But whatever it is, who deserves to die like that? And who deserves to be beaten like that? And parents should be able to send their children to school and not have to worry that they're going to die at school. You know, it's just absolutely insane for this to happen. which takes me kind of to another story about the nurse who refuses to give CPR to a patient. Well, she wasn't her patient. This is an ALF, assisted living facility. And if you know anything about assisted living facilities, they're facilities where people are up and about and just don't want to have the headache of having their own house or their own condo. So they rent like a room or a suite at this particular facility. And then those facilities provide them with their food and their entertainment and, that kind of stuff. But who knew that in that contract, even though they have a nurse on duty, that nurse cannot do CPR? And it just broke your heart today, just listening to that 911 operator trying to beg that nurse to give the woman CPR. And she's saying, no, I can't do it because of policy. I just think that's a load of crap. Because as a nurse, I don't care where you are, and a doctor, and you see someone dying and you can help, you just remember what you were taught in medical school or nursing school. You're there to help and heal and take care of people. So why didn't she just give the lady the CPR and then worry about the job later? I'm sure there would have been tons of companies who were willing to give her a job based on the fact that she was heroic. And then the 911 operator kept begging her and saying to her, is there anyone else there that's willing to do this? What about some of the other elderly people that are there? And she was continuing to argue with the 911 operator. And I thought to myself, how heartless. And she sounded so cold and unfeeling, uncaring, no compassion. And eventually the lady died. Now I wonder how she feels as a nurse. She should not be allowed to practice nursing again. That's my opinion. Just like the nurse who screwed up my daughter's life. They should be kicked out of the profession. Because the ones who work at night, they just want to come to work to sleep. Some of them. And when you seemingly as a patient make too much noise, they try to give you medication to make you go to sleep and shut you up. So this happened in Bakersfield, California, at an assisted living facility. So ladies and gentlemen, when you decide to put your parents in any facility that because of course these are older people who know what they're doing and, are up and about. But when you go and you make contracts like that, you need to read the fine print. Because I'm sure that lady who died probably did not read the fine print to know that, yes, it's nice to be in an assisted living facility, but if you're sick or you're going to die and CPR can save your life, unless 911 gets there before you die, you will die. So, ladies and gentlemen, again I say, read the fine print of everything before you sign it. I don't care if it's a college contract, a bank contract, I don't care how small that contract is. Make sure you read it in full and read the fine print. If they are impatient and they don't want to wait on you, take it home and read it and go back. Because you never sometimes know what you're signing your life away. Just think of the people who were on that cruise the other day. Do you think they read the fine print? I went on a cruise and I stood up there at the counter and was reading the fine print, and I could see the guy getting real impatient with me, but I didn't care. And I had to say to him, oh, so I can't sue you if anything happens to me? And he barely could answer, but he knew what the answer was. You can't sue them. It's in the fine print. It's right there. So you're taking your chances by going on a cruise. Wonderful cruise, and I went and I had a great time. But you must read that fine print and know in your heart that you can live with whatever consequences come if you did not read it. And then you're going to be shocked. Think of the young lady the other day who got dismissed from a Christian school because she got pregnant and was not married at the school, and it was part of the school's policy that she signed that stated if you're found having premarital sex and you get pregnant, you can no longer work here. So why aren't we reading? Why are we just signing things? You go to the doctor and you sign the thing without reading it. Read it. Because what they're saying on those forms at the doctor's office, if your insurance doesn't pay, you've got to pay. So you make sure you read what you're signing. It's very, 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 very important. And I don't care which country you're in. Same premise goes. It's just like having people come into your house and invade your privacy. You have family members coming to your house. Now I'm going off on a real different track tonight. They come to your house and you accommodate them for a day or two, or you ask them to babysit somebody while you're gone on vacation. And when you come back, they don't want to leave. They want to take up permanent residence in your house. And then when you try to get them to leave, they act as if you're the meanest, most vile person on the face of the earth, on the planet. So ladies and gentlemen, my policy, no one stays at my house. If you're a family member and I figure you are nice enough and I really, really like you, I will let you stay at my house for a couple of days. And that's it. Don't try to move in because it's not going to work. And if people come to your place and you're extra nice to them, they don't want to leave because the love is so much there they don't want to go. No. If you commit to go to someone's house for 3 weeks because you're looking for a place, and then when the 3 weeks come, they don't have the decency to come to you and say, okay, the 3 weeks are over. I haven't found a place yet. No, they just continue to live and push you around too and be rude to you too. I've had that experience, yes, with family members. Not in my house though. Someone else's house. Yeah, I've seen it, okay? Because it ain't happening to me. So don't encourage people to do things and you're trying to be nice. And then they take that niceness for weakness. So they come and they invade your house and they're there forever and you can't get rid of them. Absolutely should not be happening. It's nice to help all family members. But after a certain amount of time, everybody gets on everybody's nerves. That's the reason when I go any place, if I cannot afford to stay in a hotel, I don't go. Because I don't want to become a burden to anyone in their house. So please, just getting back to the ALFs now, you need to read the fine print when you're putting your parents. Remember, an ALF is not a nursing home. An ALF is an assisted living facility. Assisted is what they say. So they'll assist you while you live. They're not a caring, nursing kind of facility. Even though there might be a nurse there, she can't give you CPR. And just like that lady, I think it happened last week, you might just die for lack of a little CPR. Now, you want to tell me that there was no nurse in that facility or anyone brave enough to give this woman CPR? Shameful. Absolutely shameful. Anyway. Wow. This is something that I think all the older women who are out there who are going to their doctors and they're being told that they need to take calcium and vitamin D to strengthen their bones. Well, this news is for you in particular. Healthy older women should not take calcium and vitamin D supplements to prevent fractures. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, did you know there was such an agency? There is such an agency. And the abbreviation for that agency is USPSTF. And I'll say it again. The United States Preventative Services Task Force. Now, the new recommendation do not apply to people who are known to be vitamin D deficient or people who currently have osteoporosis. Dr. Virginia Moyer is the chairperson for the organization, and she's also a professor of pediatrics at Baylor College of Medicine. So you have your parents, your older parents, Tell them, don't listen to the doctor. There's sometimes you need to fight your doctor, like when he's trying to stuff a whole lot of medication down your throat. You need to find out, why am I taking this? And is there some other way instead of taking medicine? Because I think doctors just kind of love nowadays to be writing all them prescriptions. And the easiest way to get rid of you is to give you a prescription. And if you try to have a conversation with some of these doctors, they get very impatient and very short with you. But you need to insist. And if you have a doctor and you can't have a conversation with that doctor, I suggest you find another one. I don't care how good they are, how wonderful they are. If you must be able to have a conversation with your doctor, and do not be afraid to ask your doctor any question. He's working for you. You're paying him. Stop being so, mousy mouth. You're afraid to ask the doctor a question because you think he's King George. No, he's not. He's just a doctor. So if you can't have a conversation with your doctor, then you need to find another doctor. How about that? I think that's a good idea, don't you? All right. Okay. Moving right along now. In health again. Now there's good news for the men in your life, especially if they're older. A new study has indicated that skin patches which deliver estrogen into the blood may be a cheaper and safer treatment for prostate cancer. How about that? Who knew? Than the current therapies of all that medicine that they give those guys to take? Wow. This is great news, I think. Okay, it says using the estrogen to treat prostate cancer is an old treatment. Old things coming new again. And the patches are found to be safe and should avoid menopause-like side effects, because some of the medications that they give these guys when they have prostate cancer, it gives them kind of menopausal kind of effects, side effects, like what women would have when they're experiencing their menopause. So the study was done by the Imperial College in London. All right, so that's good news for the guys in your life. You want to let them know that when they go to their doctor next time to check on their prostate, and if they sadly have prostate cancer, try the patch first to see if it works. And most of the times, from what the study says, it works just as good as those hardcore medicine that they try to get you to put in your system, which is most of the time just poisonous. All righty. Okay. In Kenya, I'm sure a lot of you did not realize there was an election going on in Kenya. Yes, there is. And they've begun to count the votes. And the people were lining up just like in Florida. The lines just look like Florida to me. Those long lines in Kenya. So the votes are being counted. And this is actually the first time that election in Kenya since a disputed contest of 2007. This is the first time people are getting a chance to vote again, when they had two presidential front runners taking early leads. And, so now people are having again a chance to go to that ballot box and make their voices be heard in Kenya. So if you did not know that there was an election going on in Kenya, I just educated you and I just told you something that you needed to know. I thought you needed to know. Okay. Alrighty. Moving right along here. Let's move because we have quite a few things to cover. And the world's richest man, we begin with him. And just in case you want to be a billionaire, you gotta, the richest man is actually not in the US this time. I started today on this, so I was up to Bill Gates. But the richest man, I'm just going to run the two through, is Carlos Slim Helú. And his net worth is 73 billion. And I hope I did not massacre your name. I'm so sorry. Telecommunications, real estate, mining, and retail. Those are some of the things he has his hand into. I saw him on television being interviewed, and he's a very sweet-looking gentleman. So, who knew? Retail, mining, real estate, and telecommunications. What I'm doing here. Internet. He's into all of that. and he is a citizen of Mexico. And of course, number 2 is Microsoft King Bill Gates. And of course, you know he's a U.S. citizen, and he is 67 billion strong. Yeah, 67 billion. That's his net worth. And there is Amancio Ortega. His net worth is $57 billion. And he's part of that whole Zara fashion thing. And of course, again, real estate. Real estate has gotten a beating over the years since 2008, but it's trying to come back. But I don't want them to bring it back and have another bubble. They need to bring it back in a sensible way. People have to get from underwater before they start talking about price increases and houses are selling like hot bread. The people that are buying these houses are people who are coming from overseas with their loads of cash, because they're buying these houses cash. No one is getting any mortgages to buy houses. Very few people are. Even people with pristine credit, they're having difficulty getting a mortgage. So the banks have moved from one extreme to the next. Everyone used to get a mortgage. Now no one can get one. So if you have cash, that's the best way to go. Keep on rolling. All right. Number 4, Warren Buffett, of course, the lovely, lovely Warren Buffett, who is standing up for folks who are paying more taxes, like his secretary paying more taxes than he is. And he wants that to change. What a great thing. I love Warren Buffett. And his net worth, of course, is $53.5 billion. And, you know, his Berkshire Hathaway company. And indeed, he is a U.S. citizen, of course. Let's see. Number 5 is Larry Ellison. You must have heard of Larry Ellison. That's the guy from Oracle. He's the guy from Oracle who he just seems very serious to me all the time, you know, when I see him. He's a U.S. citizen and he's worth $43 billion. Okay, I think only one female made this list. Now, the Koch brothers, Charles Koch and David Koch, of course, there's a tie there because they are worth, each of them are worth $34 billion. And they're the folks who are U.S. citizens, of course, and they're the ones who gave all that money to get Romney elected and gave Karl Rove all that money. And they're the ones who are trying to get our schools segregated in the South again. They're the ones with all that coal and all those places where people are getting sick and they're not doing anything about it. That's the Koch brothers for you. All right. So their company is called Diversified because their hands are in the till so many places. So they're diversified, right? So that's a tie with the Koch brothers. So they're both worth $34 billion. Okay, let's see. Number 8 is Li Ka-shing, net worth $31 billion. Diversified again. Citizen, though, of Hong Kong. All right, and this is Liliana Battencourt. Number 9 net worth is $30 billion. And that's a lady who owns L'Oreal Cosmetics. Of course, you know, she's a citizen of France. So, yes. So Miss L'Oreal, she has made the list. And I think she is the only female, actually. Yeah, she is. Because the last one is Bernard Arnault. And he's from France also, citizen of France. Net worth is $29 billion. And get this. This is the guy that owns LVMH. All you ladies out there who love those Louis Vuitton bags, write this down. That's the name of his company. And his name is Bernard Arnault. Yes? LVMH. Louis Vuitton. That's his company. Moet, for those of you who like Moet. And Hennessy. Hennessy, that, you know, that expensive drink that everybody talks about. Oh, have you tried Hennessy? No, I haven't. I don't drink alcohol. How about that? So, citizen of France. So that's just in case you want to keep on pressing on and pursuing your passion to become a billionaire. Those are some of the areas that you need to focus on. Real estate, you know, this was a big one. And of course, the fashion industry is quite a big one too. So, mining, yeah. Think about that. And of course, handbags. Who knew? Louis Vuitton. Everyone wants a Louis Vuitton bag. I've never owned one, so I don't really know. I don't know what's in it, or, why it's so popular. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's the color. Maybe it's that LV that's on it. That's written so nicely. I don't know. So maybe I'll just write DW and, intersect it and come up with my own handbags and my own line of clothing. Yes. And make it high end, of course, because I was listening to someone talk the other day, and they were saying that if you're designing something, design it for the rich and the poor will buy. Yes, that's actually what they said. I'm not lying. All right. In Switzerland, the Swiss voters I've never really heard this happen before, but it happened in Switzerland. The Swiss people, they voted to reject a proposal that was to bid to host the 2022 Winter Olympic Games in St. Moritz. Wow. So, St. Moritz and actually Davos. Davos, where they keep that economic forum conference every year, and all those rich guys just gather in Davos in Switzerland. So, they oppose the funding. Residents in both St. Moritz and Davos also held referendums on Sunday. Officials call the outcome a big disappointment, as they failed to convince or persuade the residents that the Winter Olympics would invigorate tourism in Switzerland and the local economy. Oh, wow. Last time they held the games in Switzerland in St. Moritz was 1948. So I guess the Swiss folks are saying, no, thank you. We don't want any traffic here. We don't want ton loads of people coming down in our community. And guess what? We cannot afford to fix up the place for them. So they just refused and voted no for the funding of the 2022 games, Winter Games in St. Moritz and Davos. Now, my girlfriend always tells me that I need to go to St. Moritz in Switzerland. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. So I guess I have that on my list of things to do, or places to go and people to see. All right. Okay. There's a lot of cars. If you're buying cars for this year or next year, there's so many new cars on the market. I'm trying to figure out, if you really don't know anything about cars, what do you really do? I need to put this over my head. Yes, thank you. What do you actually do when you are bombarded with all these different models? So I thought I'd make life a little easier for you, just in case you're going to buy a car like real soon. The cars that were reconfigured, redesigned to make them look better, be more luxurious, or drive better, be better, whatever the case is. The Dodge Viper, that was redone. The Ford Fusion, that was also redesigned. The Dodge Dart was also redesigned. The Chevrolet Impala was redesigned, but available in 2014. So, 2014 cars normally would come out closer to the end of 2013 this year. Toyota RAV4, that was a very, very popular SUV with young people. Mazda 6, that's redesigned and coming out in 2014. The Honda Accord again. Now, I owned a Honda Accord, and I'm telling you, I've seen that car change so many times, I can't even remember what it looked like when I owned it. Because they're wonderful cars, they're trouble-free cars, and people love them. But why do they keep redesigning them so often? I thought they just redesigned it the other day. So here they come again, the Honda Accord, redesigned for 2013. Oh, Land Rover Range Rover, that's a beauty. That is a beauty. The redesigning of that one is definitely a beauty, and definitely something that is much more luxurious. Yes, and looks better. It's not as, you can spot it as easily, but it's a beautiful car. Yeah, seen that one. Porsche Boxster, that's redesigned also. And the Porsche Cayman, that's also redesigned. And the last one on the list, Chevrolet Corvette. The Corvette is being that's an iconic car, the U.S. model. But they say, you know, it's available. I guess you can probably get it already, but it's really redesigned for 2014. So if you're looking for cars, hope I helped to narrow down your search. You can check these ones out, because to me, if you're buying a car and it's being redesigned, I would wait for the redesigned car. I would not be buying the current car. So you might want to wait a little bit and try to let your jalopy last a little longer. You know, I call my jalopy Betsy. So make your Betsy last a little longer. Just keep going in that Betsy and let it last a little bit longer, so you can get the car that's redesigned, as opposed to, even though, you know, sometimes they redesign it and you don't really like it as much as the older model, you can still get the older model to buy. But my thing is that if something is being redesigned, I'll be patient and I'll wait to see the new stuff. And let me choose between the new and the old. Because if I buy the old and then the new comes and I'm so enamored with it, I'd be very disappointed and very sad that I can't get a new one. All right. So hope I made your life a little bit easier then. I saw something online that I thought was quite interesting and a good thing for knowledge for those of you who are listening and watching the show. And welcome once again to the Diana Wright Show live online, as we welcome you from around the world and in the United States. And we remind you of our telephone number, 561-228-1921, whether you'd like to join the conversation on the show, whether you'd like to call me to book me for your church or your function, or to come and tell you much more about the I Love Me crusade that I'm doing, and to encourage your people and get them loving themselves. Yes, we want to get the energies flowing and people loving themselves and teaching their children to love themselves also. All right. I thought you would want to know this one because I thought it was quite interesting. I did not realize that there were so many women who are actually heads of state around the world. Now, you know of Angela Merkel because she's a chancellor from Germany and she's quite popular, especially in Europe and all of that. And you know of the Jamaican Prime Minister, Portia Simpson Miller, who is the Prime Minister of Jamaica. This is her second go around. But my goodness, I never knew that there were so many. And there's actually one who is 36 years old. And her name is Alifete Jajaga or Jahega. Okay? She's president of Kosovo. Can you imagine that? And she was, before this job, she was a police commander. And she's been president since April 7th, 2011. I thought that was quite interesting. And then there's another one that's quite young too. This one is Helle Thorning-Schmidt, and she's a prime minister of Denmark. She's 44 years old. And she started her reign October 3rd, 2011. Interesting thought. Okay. And a lot of them are in their 60s and 70s, but I'll just kind of run through a few of them for you. This one is Yingluck Shinawatra, Prime Minister of Thailand, that I just spoke about. She's only 47, and she started her reign August 5th, 2011. And then there is Sheikh Hasina Wazid. She's Prime Minister of Bangladesh. She's 65 years old. And her reign began 1996 to 2001. And then she came back again, like Jamaican Prime Minister Portia Simpson. She came back in 2009, and then she's still the leader. So wonderful women doing great things around the world. Johamar Sigwadatote. She's Prime Minister of Iceland. Imagine. Iceland must be really cold. Yes, I saw someone trying to buy a house in Iceland and go to school in Iceland on HGTV, one of my favorite channels. Because that's the only channel you can watch and you don't have to rush to change the channel because it's so sexual. All right. And she's 70 years old, but she's been reigning since February 1 in 2009. Yeah, the Prime Minister of Iceland. And of course, Portia Simpson Miller, Prime Minister of Jamaica. She's 67. I never thought she was that old in age. I didn't know that because she looks so much younger than that. Really, I was actually shocked when I saw her age because she looks nothing like 67 to me anyway. But maybe I'm blind. So she was in power March 30 to 06. Then, of course, she is again the Prime Minister, elected January 5, 2012, just the other day. So, wow. And Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, or Sirleaf, she's the President of Liberia, and she's 74 years old. January 16, 2006. That's her reign started then, and she's still in power. So there's still hope for you and I if we want to be Prime Minister of any country. Or hopefully it's the country that you were born in. Yeah, if you want to be Prime Minister, it's not too late. We're still young and ready to rumble, okay? And you know, over 40 and fabulous still, or, you know, over 50 and fabulous too. So, hey, there's still hope for us. Those Prime Ministers are in their 70s. Let's see who else we got here. We've gotten here Joyce Banda, and she's President of Malawi. And she was elected in April 2012, so she's recent. And then there is Laura Chinchilla. She's 51, and she is the President of Costa Rica. May 8, 2012, recently. Yes. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. She's 59, and she is the President of Argentina. Now, we know of her because we know that she and Venezuelan President Mr. Chavez are good friends, and they seem to work together. All right. This one is Park Geun-hye. She's 60, and she's the President of South Korea. Assumed office in February 25th. Election held December 2012. So she just took office, but the election was, actually held in December 2012. Julia Gillard, of course, Australian Prime Minister. A lot of you know her. She's 51 years old. And this one, the pronunciation of this one is quite challenging. So let me try this one. Her name is Dalia Grybauskaitė, and she's the President of Lithuania. I think that's where Marlene Otte lives. Maybe. Yes, I think so. She's 53 years old, and she came to power in 2009, July 12. And Alifete, I told you about her already. And Angela Merkel, of course, Chancellor of Germany. Everybody knows Angela Merkel. She's the one with the money that's helping out the folks in Europe, like Greece, and soon to be Italy, and next Spain. Okay? And she's only 58 years old, Angela Merkel. And then there's Kamla Persad Bissessar, that's her name. She's 58, and she's the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. She came to Florida when she got elected, and she's been Prime Minister since May 26th. That's in 2010. And finally, but not, of course, least, is Dilma Rousseff. She's the President of Brazil, and she was elected January 2011. So did you know that there were so many women who hold the position of power in their country? They're leaders in their countries. Yes, and we're so proud of them. And we hope that lots of young women out there who are listening and from around the world and in the United States to the Diana Wright Show live online tonight, this will give you the opportunity to think what you can become. You can become the President of the United States, for those of you who are here as young women, and you can become the President or Prime Minister of your country no matter where you are in the world. Just to give you a little boost, my young folks in young power for this day. Okay, now I'm going to get back into the health thing because I think there's quite a few things for health that you need to kind of pay attention to. But I wanted to talk a little bit about a few things before I get to the health issues that I so love. Queen Elizabeth, my favorite lady. Of course, she's a Taurian like me too, so she's a tough cookie, you see. She was in the hospital for only a day and a night. Out of the hospital today, came out swinging. She didn't want to be a bother to anyone and create any security issues. And this is the first time Queen Elizabeth has been to the hospital for a stay in 10 years. Now that is fantastic. She's in her 80s. I met her in Jamaica when I just started my career in Jamaica as a reporter and anchor for the evening news. And I was a person who I was part of the team that went to the airport and came with a motorcade back to King's House where she was received. And it was such a great honor to touch her hands and Prince Philip's hand. And my goodness, their hands are as soft as a baby's butt. So soft. You feel like you're touching silk almost. But it was such a wonderful experience to meet them and experience that at King's House in Jamaica when I just actually went back there to start my career in broadcasting and was an anchor for the evening news and also a reporter, live shot reporter. So that was fantastic. So I met the Queen. Yes, I did. So we are so happy that she's out of the hospital and she's well. She had a stomach bug and they, must have taken care of it because she looked very bright and smiley when she left the hospital today. She is one tough cookie. All right. So, okay. So let me go back here to some other items that I wanted to talk to you about. If you're looking for love, could you imagine that you'll be finding love in Walmart? Yes. Walmart is now the place for a love connection. So for all you ladies in Walmart that work there, I hope you're finding a love connection in there because other people are. Yeah, according to research published in Psychology Today, Walmart is the most common place to find a love connection. People in 15 states ranging or, spanning the arena from North Carolina to South Dakota say Walmart is a place they saw their potential soulmates. Now, for those of you who are in your 20s, you're reporting to these people who are doing the survey that you are finding love in the ice cream shop. Who knew? Who knew? And as we stay with products and Walmart and all of that, I would like to ask you, have you noticed lately that all the products are shrinking, yet you're still paying the same price? Because they don't want to increase the price, but they think we're so stupid that we're not noticing that the packaging for the ice cream is smaller. In the restaurant, they're giving you smaller portions and talking about it's 500 calories or less. Yeah. Restaurants are the biggest culprits, and they give you those sliders, those mini burgers, trying to cheat you out of a whole big juicy burger when you feel for a burger. Slider pizza. That's the latest fashion. They have something called slider pizza. I haven't tried it yet, but I saw it online. Toilet paper. Have you noticed how your toilet paper is just shrinking? But you're paying the same amount for that same roll of toilet paper. And especially Scott tissue. They were kind of digging out Scott for that. Orange juice. Tropicana orange juice. Tropicana. I don't think they're the only ones though. Do you notice how those boxes kind of look like they're shaping up to lose some weight? Yeah. So they're trying to cheat us. Sodas. Okay, the big soda cans that you see, they actually have less than the smaller soda cans. Look at the ounceages, my love. Oh my goodness, I come back to it again. We need to read. Read labels. Read before you sign. Read. It's so important to read. And when you go online and you see an article, don't just look at the headline. Read the article. Please do. Now, for me, I can't carry the entire thing in the article, but I read the article, so I understand what I need to pick out, which I think is the most important part to let you know. But I'm just encouraging you to encourage yourself to read, and please encourage your children to read. My daughter used to love to read, but then as she became a teenager, she doesn't want to read anymore, unless it's assigned by school. She used to be reading everything in sight because I think when I was pregnant, I read everything that I could put my fingers on. Because it was just, apart from loving to read and enjoying the read, it was just to buy the time when that big belly would be gone, And I gained 60 pounds when I was pregnant because I was eating everything in sight. Because when I'm not pregnant, I don't eat a lot. So I was making up for all of that. That's what my mom said. My mom said I was making up for all the food I couldn't eat when I'm not pregnant. So I think you should start complaining about this, because it's not, I've noticed it for a long time, and I kept saying, why is it that this ice cream box looks so skinny and I'm paying the same price? And even though it might seem as if it's more expensive actually because you're getting less, but they thought we would not notice. But guess what? It has now hit the internet, so you know everyone is noticing. So I'm just asking you, when you go to the supermarket, read the labels and make sure you're not being ripped off. And in restaurants, don't let them tell you about they're giving you no smaller portion because they're trying to get you to eat only 500 calories. Take the big portion and pay the regular price. Trying to rip us off. Okay. All right. What else do I have here? Also, there was a test that was done on fast food chains. Who has the worst burgers? McDonald's. And that was for food quality was poor at McDonald's. Burger King was next, Taco Bell, and KFC got the thumbs up and the award for the slowest fast food chain. So when you go into KFC, expect slow. Nobody moves fast. It's not really a fast food joint, okay? I don't think KFC ever advertised themselves as fast food anyway. They always advertise as coming to get that family bucket for dinner with the mashed potatoes and then corn and stuff, right? So I don't know if they ever advertise themselves as fast food, but they're saying that the folks who go to KFC says they're the slowest fast food place in the business. All right. And Little Caesar, Sbarro Pizza, they're not necessarily great pizza. Neither is Papa John's. Five Guys have the best burgers. Chick-fil-A, of course, has the best chicken. And Papa Murphy's, never heard of it. I'm going to have to find out where they are because I've never heard of it. If you know of one, please let me know. Papa Murphy's has the best pizza. And Chipotle, they have the best Mexican food. Yeah. And they're pretty good service, I gather. So, and this is being said, of course, by Todd Marks of Consumer Reports that was giving all of those details. All right. So, the prices are increases on the food and the foods are getting a little smaller. So I think you should start noticing, and I think you should start complaining. Because, you know, if you complain a lot in Walmart and they tell those people, Walmart will stop buying the products or tell them to fix it. Because Walmart has that kind of clout, you see. Alrighty, let's get into a lot of health stuff that I have for you tonight. And some of them I would like for you to write them down. This I'd like for you to write down because I would like to put it on my supermarket list. A lot of things on there I already eat, but you're not eating them consistently to get the benefits from them. So here it is. Health, the 10 best foods to eat. 10 best. Start writing. Get your pen. I'm going to give you time to go get your pen while I remind you of a few things. Reminding you to save the date of October 5th. And that's the day that Save a Life Jamaica Foundation will give you a chance to save a life for only $20. An event being put on by the president, Novlet Gale, for Save a Life Jamaica Foundation. And we invite you to start saving your quarters, your pennies, your dollars, your whatever, your $5, your $10 bills, till you get to 20. And reserve that money for October 5th. Save that date. We have a great event coming up. I'm on the board. And we are going to invite you to join us as we save lives, not only in Jamaica, but around the world. That's how we think we can give back and make a commitment to help some of the people who are not able to help themselves. Right? Also, don't forget that my book is coming out soon, Deadly Negligence. That's the book. That's the name of the book, the title of the book. It will be available, of course, on my website, and we will let you know where the launches are going to be. And if you'd like to pre-order the book before it's even done, you can do so by giving me a call at 561-228-1921. And I will tell you a little sneak about the book. Can't give you too much because I need you to read it. Because reading maketh the man. Yes, reading is good for you, and encourage your children to read. If they don't want to read, take away something else and encourage them to read, because reading takes you on a journey around places that you've never been and maybe you'll never be. But if you read enough and look at enough pictures of that place, you feel like you've been there. All right. 10 best foods to eat. Let's start. You must have gotten a pen by now. Yes, I know you did. Okay, avocado. And guess what that is for? If you want to have your hair nice and shiny, avocado is the thing to be eating. And of course, you know it's good. It's good fat that's in avocado. It's good for a lot of other things. But this is the main thing they're pointing out right here. Okay, kiwi. Did you know that kiwi was good for your bones? I never knew that. As much as I researched kiwi, I've never seen that one. But that's what they're saying. Okay, garbanzo beans to fight gray hair. I think a lot of over 50s, we need that. Garbanzo beans to fight that gray hair that lots of you don't like. Oysters for your eyes. Now, I don't know about that one because oysters, no. But, yeah, I could use it for my eyes, but I don't think I'm going to eat no oysters. But that's what they're recommending. Cilantro, that nice little plant, to prevent hair loss. Now, that I'm going to definitely be buying a lot of because I don't want to be losing my hair. I want to keep the little I have. Salmon. And that's good for your heart, as you know. I'm sure you know that. But I did not know. I love lentils, and I love lentil soup, especially when I go to an Indian restaurant. I always order lentil soup to grow your hair. Who knew? Can you imagine? You need to eat up all the lentil that you see. Your hair will be growing long, and you don't have to put that weave in. And you don't have to put on that wig. Lentils will grow your hair, and lentil soup is very good if it's done right. Now, ginger, turmeric, cocoa, cayenne pepper, and cinnamon for your blood. Very good for your blood, cleansing your blood. So you should be eating all those things. Now, a good idea that my husband kind of introduced me to it, cutting up ginger, putting it in your water bottle, filling it with water, and then you have what? Ginger water. So you drink that all day, and it's good for your stomach, it's good for your butt, and everything else. If you have problems with hemorrhoids and those things, yes, we are finding out that it works. So I've kind of tried to encourage him to set up my ginger water for me. All right, and hemp powder is good for dry scalp. They're recommending that you put that hemp powder in your shakes that you're making in the mornings. Some of you are on diet and you're making those protein shakes or whatever. Just add some hemp powder and it will take care of that dry scalp that you have. Okay, here's the best one. Bananas. I'm going to buy some bananas right now. Bananas are good for your libido. It helps to boost your testosterone. So if your sex life is a little drab and you're not feeling the groove, go get yourself some bananas. Bananas will make you feel like you want to go, like you want to do something. And for all those men who have low T, maybe what you need to be doing is eating a banana a day. How about that? My mother swears by that banana for potassium. But everybody eats it for a different reason. But I never knew that bananas. So I'll be buying bananas come this weekend at the grocery store. Or maybe I won't wait until the weekend. I'll start eating bananas as of tomorrow. All right? I promise. So join me in the banana craze to improve my libido. Alrighty, wow, it's coming to the end of the show, but I'm going to go through all these health things for you because I think they're important, and I think I'm going to probably repeat them sometimes on the program because these are really important things for you to know. And I think I left some out here. Yes, if you'd like to, these are foods they're claiming actually cure things. Pork and beans, that will cure your PMS woes. Wow. But what if you don't eat pork and you don't like beans? I don't know. That's a tricky one. Asparagus. If you have a hangover, I don't drink, so that won't affect me. If you have a hangover from drinking too much liquor, which a lot of you do, then you can eat yourself some asparagus and it will take care of it quickly. Okay. Lemonade. Good for kidney stones. Who knew? Something as nice as lemonade is good for kidney stones. Pomegranate is good for sunburn. If you like to go out in the sun And pomegranate is really chock full of vitamins. And if you have migraine headaches, don't eat any beef. That's what they're saying. And coffee will cure your depression. Can you imagine that? I think it's a kick you get when you drink that coffee. The only coffee I like is Blue Mountain coffee, which I drink like once a year, once every 2 years. And if it doesn't have condensed milk, I don't want it. No. So, okay, all right. There we go. Back to another one. Okay, here's one. If you experience a lot of joint pains, here are the best things to eat. If you have joint pains, whether you have rheumatoid arthritis, regular arthritis, or you just have knee pains or whatever it is, a lot of people, whether you're young or old, experience this, so it's not an age thing. Salmon is a good thing to eat. Olive oil, turmeric, milk. It's best and worst milk because some people can tolerate the dairy and some people can't. Onions, garlic, of course. Alcohol is best and worst depending on who you are. For me, I don't drink, so you have some people who can't deal with alcohol, and some people, red wine is good, or white wine, yes. And raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries. All the berries are good for you. What's worse for you? Bacon, butter, cream. They are the worst culprits of the list. Broccoli and vegetables are good. Cherries are good. Red meat, worst. Sugary drinks, worst. You need to stop that. Gluten, that's in, pastries and breads and stuff like that. If it contains gluten, you don't need to be having it, especially if you are gluten intolerant. And eggplant, they say eggplant can be good and it can be bad. Wow, who knew? And then yogurt, of course, is best for you if you have joint pains. So all those foods, if you have, sometimes you get up in the morning and man, your joints are hurting, or you exercise too much and you're in pain. But, exercise actually helps joint pains if you do a lot of stretching. So keep that in mind also. And here's another list. This losing weight thing is becoming a pain. Don't you think? Every day they come up with a new thing. But here it is. To lose weight, they asking you to eat skinless chicken, lean meat, fresh fish or canned tuna in water, legumes like lentils, chickpeas and split peas, pasta, the whole wheat kind, not the regular kind, boiled rice, recommended wild rice, eggs, because it's packed with protein, yogurt, yogurt, and soft cheeses, fresh fruits and vegetables, potatoes with the skin. I thought potatoes make you fat. So see, that's a reason. But anyway, that's what they say. Okay. And here's another one. Ways to add years to your life. Drink wine. Say yes to soy. Now that's if you can tolerate that soy, because some people can't tolerate it. Slash your stress. My goodness, that one I must say, please, whatever you do, slash the stress. Exercise, lose some weight, stop smoking, and again I repeat, slash the stress and try to relax. Please, relax, 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 relax. And it's good news, and that's the way I'll end the show, on good news. A baby that was born with AIDS, HIV/AIDS, has now been detected that she has no AIDS anymore. Wow. They say it's not a cure, but it's close to a cure, and doctors are so excited about this one. And virologist Dr. Deborah Prasad of Johns Hopkins Children's Center led the study on this one. So, babies can be cured. Caution on the cured, but will see no signs of HIV/AIDS in their blood. Actually, this baby was being treated and given medication early But the mother stopped the medication and boom, the baby's cured. Wow, that's an awesome thing. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Hope you have a great evening. And of course, 2 dates that you need to remember. April 30th, National I Love Me Day. That's my day that I will make sure that each and every one of you, I hope by then you'll all be saying, I love me. I love me. It will be a course around the world and in the United States. That's my hope for that day. And I hope that you will go out and buy my t-shirts at my web store. Yeah, check it out. It's there. Or you can call and order it too. But it's important to love yourself. It's important to teach your children to love themselves. It's important to live from the inside out. Give love, share love. Because I tell you what, if you don't love yourself, you're not able to receive love. And you're not able to give love. How about that? If you don't love yourself, how can you give it? How can you get it? How can you receive it? You can't. So if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours. Don't forget, October 5, you will get a chance to save a life. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Little by little, we'll give you the name of the event, what you need to wear, what you need to do, where you need to go to be part of the event. It's going to be exciting, I think. Yes. So, on that note, I say once again, thanks for joining me. This is the Diana Wright Show live online, and we say adios, au revoir, and ciao.